what is the role of media in globalization? The role of media in globalization is it boosts the efficiency of everything in this world since it serves as the communication tool which connects us people all around the world via news broadcasts, television programs, videos, and music. The mass media are now seen as playing a critical role in enhancing globalization and fostering cultural interaction and various exchanges of knowledges and images between nations. Nowadays, mass media plays a key role in extension of globalization process. The most common used form of media is the internet through the use of the gadgets wherein the mobile phones are the most common evident and it is considered to have a paramount influence on globalization. So by paramount has a very vast influence or effect into this world. But we have also to bear in our minds that it has also a bad side since it can also cripple the globalization itself when unrightfully used. Nevertheless, due to globalization process today, there is an increased access to a broad range of media, which plays a very important role in shaping human minds and has an immense impact on society's personal lives. The economy itself, the trading, which is the import and export of goods from country to country. The other way around, globalization also improved the media itself as time goes by. And moreover, communication is the greatest tool that the humans ever had. So that would be all. Thank you.
Media globalization pros, and it will be discussed by me, Engine Cadet Villaester, Makki, Leonard. So, what is media globalization? The media industry is in many ways perfect for globalization, or the spread of global trade without the regard for the traditional political borders. Media is largely a cultural product, and the transfer of such a product is likely to have an influence in the recipient's culture. Increasingly, technology has also been propelling globalization. Technology allows for quick communications, fast and coordinated transport, and efficient mass marketing, all of which have allowed globalization, especially globalized media, to take hold. Pros for media globalization. First is access to new culture. So, globalization makes it easier than ever to access foreign culture, including food, movies, music, and art. The example of that is most Filipinos are into Korean culture because of the influence they get by watching K-drama, and we Filipino tend to follow them like the fashion style and the food they eat. Next is the spread of technology and innovation. So many countries around the world remain constantly connected, so knowledge and technological advances travel quickly. Because knowledge also transfers so fast, this means scientific advances made in Asia can be worked at United States in a matter of days. Media is a big part with the spread of technology and innovation because through media, knowledge and information can be spread and everyone in the world can see it. Next is the lower cost of product. Globalization allows companies to find lower cost ways to produce their products. It also increases global competition, which drives prices down and creates a larger variety of choices for consumers. Lowered costs help people in both developing and already developed countries to live better on less money. So next is access to new market. So businesses gain great deal from globalization, including new customers and diverse revenue streams. Companies interested in these benefits look for flexible and innovative ways to grow their business overseas. So the International Professional Employer Organization, or the PEO, make it easier than ever to employ workers in other countries quickly and compliantly. So this means that for many companies, there is no longer need to establish foreign entity to expand overseas. And that's for the pros for the media globalization.
So, I am Engine Salvador. I am here to discuss the cause of media globalization. So first is it can empower the already powerful. So while mass media can create opportunities for everyone to share their story, the vast majority of our mass media is bought and is bought those with money can dictate who wins what we see and hear. This gives the rich and those connected to the rich a far louder voice than the rest of us. At its best, this is unfair. At its worst, it's a way for a tiny minority to seize power over the vast majority. So second is it can be used for disinformation and hate. How do you know what you seeing or hearing from mass media is true? Well, some sources of information are far more trustworthy than others. Mass media as a whole is vulnerable to propaganda and its lies. Totalitarian regimes have used mass media for nearly a century to control what their people believe. With this of the internet, even those in democracies can be easily exposed to media designed to drive us to hate or believe in lies. So third is it can homogenize culture. Before mass media, art and culture were more localized, so they reflected diversity in how people speak, dress, and entertain themselves. Now, the entire world often sees and hears the same cultural influence, while diversity still clearly exists. There is the risk that mass media might reduce culturality variety, leaving us with less art and lower inspirations. So last is it can overtake personal connections also. So here is the one of the cons of mass media. We've all seen or been part of it's a group out to dinner where everyone spends much of evening staring at their phones or going at a TV in the corner. As much as media can connect us with people or over the world, it can disconnect us from the people right in front of us.
Sir. I'm Engine Cadet Rubia Anthony E, and I'm going to discuss the assigned topic, which is there globalization without media? For, for me, there is practically no globalization without media and communications because they rely on each other in sense that globalization is spread by media facilitated by technology, resulting in cultural exchange and interconnectivity. As we all know, media flows across geographic boundaries. We can look at globalization in media through the online news media. In it, we have the global access to news. Even before, media still exists in globalization. Even even during the pre-industrial age, this time there were no machines and tools to help perform tasks to mass, but media plays a big role in the globalization. Media can be in a form of oral communication or manuscript or writings and drawings and even symbols like what the archaeologists found in some caves around the world. For me, the very basis of media in bringing globalization is in a form of communication, from the symbols and to the rise of technology. Thus, media have an important impact on globalization. With that, I can say that there is no globalization without media, and globalization without media is impossible to exist. That's all.
Is media globalization a form of cultural imperialism? Technically, yes. As technology develops, technology made it possible to make a worldwide movement toward economic, financial trade, and communication integration, which is called globalization. The globalization paradigm started with a good purpose. It was to unify the world and to share and understand each one another culture. However, it turns out globalization paradigm had its flaws, and these flaws are described as cultural or imperialism. So, in order to fully understand the statement, we all know that there's a lot of things springs out in our mind in terms of what is media globalization and what is cultural imperialism. So first, let's tackle and define what is media globalization. As the name suggests, media globalization is the worldwide integration of media through the cross-cultural exchange of ideas, while cultural imperialism is the imposition by one usually politically or economically dominant community of various aspects of its own culture onto one another non-dominant community and a process of social influence by which a nation imposes on other culture its sets of beliefs, values, knowledge, and behavioral norms as well as its overall style of life. So lastly, to have interconnection, media globalization or being part or a form of cultural imperialism as the media is already tied in the cultural concept which often originate from the financial dealings of dependency. Since then, I least answered that media globalization is a form of cultural imperialism.
Is media globalization a form of cultural imperialism? Yes, as the media is tied with a cultural concept which originate as a process of cause and effect, pointing out that media conveys opinions and ideas from one place to another, from senders to receivers. But media does not work so simply, except in certain cases of planned communication. We have to consider the active participation of the receiving end, the audience that shapes the media content. In fact, cultural imperialism is a process of social influence by which a nation imposes on other countries it sets beliefs, values, knowledge, and behavioral norms, as well as its overall style of life. Moreover, cultural imperialism argued that audiences across the globe are heavily affected by media messages emanating from the Western industrialized countries. That's all. Thank you.